There's a competent version of you everyone knows. Another version stays buried beneath deadlines, titles, and polite ambition. That buried version quietly shapes your career. It chooses your conflicts, your exhaustion, and the promotions you never quite reach. Most people think work problems are strategic. Jung suspected something stranger. Your career often mirrors what your psyche refuses to meet. Picture an outlined figure before a mirror. The reflection looks similar, but its posture carries the part success has concealed. They point toward a hidden part of you. Bring that part into consciousness, and work stops feeling like fate. In professional life, you build a mask. Jung called it the persona. It helps you belong, but it can imprison. Your persona knows how to sound capable. It smiles in meetings, answers emails, and performs certainty under fluorescent pressure. Yet every polished mask creates leftovers. Whatever seems unprofessional, messy, needy, angry, or ambitious gets pushed underground. Those rejected qualities do not disappear. They become shadow, and the shadow always looks for a way back in. Sometimes it returns as resentment, sometimes as procrastination, sometimes as a strange urge to sabotage the very success you wanted. You tell yourself you need better discipline, better networking, better time management, yet the pattern survives every productivity system. But Jung discovered something more uncomfortable about ambition. The unconscious often blocks the lack your conscious image says it wants. If your public identity depends on being agreeable, assertiveness goes underground. Then leadership feels dangerous, even when opportunity appears. If your identity depends on being exceptional, ordinary learning becomes humiliating. Then growth stalls whenever you cannot impress quickly. If your identity depends on being selfless, desire becomes embarrassing. Then asking for more money feels morally contaminated. This is why career frustration can feel irrational. You are not only managing tasks, you are negotiating with hidden selves. At work, shadow material loves repetition. The same manager triggers you. The same project drains you. The same free returns. You may keep changing companies while carrying the same psychic arrangement. New office, new title, same invisible conflict. One person hides aggression, then attracts domineering bosses. Another hides dependency, then resents teamwork and calls everyone incompetent. A third hides creative hunger, then chooses safe roles forever. Outwardly stable, inwardly haunted by unlived potential. None of this means your career is false. It means your career has become a feeder for unconscious material. Work matters because it structures identity. It decides how you spend attention, power, desire, and recognition every day. That makes career one of the clearest places to encounter shadow. Your office often knows you before you do. Stay with me here. This next layer explains why talent alone never resolves patterns that feel older than logic. Skill can improve performance. It cannot by itself integrate the part of you that fears visibility, conflict, or authority. Jung noticed that patients rarely suffer only from events. They also suffer from the meanings hidden beneath events. In modern language, two people can face one setback. One learns. The other collapses into shame or blame. The difference is often unconscious identification. One setback touches a buried complex, and the nervous system reacts as if exposed. Think of an iceberg beneath your resume. The visible role is small, while the larger emotional structure remains submerged. Bring this into career, and the pattern becomes clear. The more rigid your work identity, the louder the shadow answers. The employee who must appear endlessly strong may suddenly burn out. The manager who worships control may invite chaos everywhere. The high achiever who needs admiration may secretly fear emptiness. Success grows, yet satisfaction keeps moving farther away. Carl Jung did not treat this as weakness. He treated it as a summons toward individuation, the becoming of a whole person. Wholeness does not mean perfect performance. It means the rejected parts of you are no longer forced underground. When assertiveness is integrated, it stops leaking as passive aggression. When vulnerability is integrated, it stops appearing as collapse. This is the part most modern career advice misses. Your unconscious has priorities, and productivity culture rarely asks what they are. Picture this. You prepare for an important presentation. Your slides are solid, yet your stomach tightens before every sentence. Consciously, you want recognition. Unconsciously, you may fear the consequences of being seen, envied, or expected. So you speak too quickly, you over-explain. You apologize for your own expertise. Then you call it stage fright. Jung would ask a deeper question. Which part of you believes visibility is dangerous, arrogant, or disloyal? That question changes everything. Now, the problem is not merely performance. It is a split inside the personality. The persona says, be impressive. The shadow whispers, disappear. Career stress often comes from serving both commands at once. This is why promotions can trigger sadness, raises can awaken guilt. Leadership can stir buried rage toward authority itself. What looks like self-sabotage may actually be psychic loyalty. You remain small because some hidden part equates growth with betrayal. Betrayal of family expectations, betrayal of early belonging, betrayal of the younger self who survived by staying acceptable. Jung saw these loyalties expressed through projection. The qualities you disown return wearing other people's faces. The arrogant coworker may carry your disowned confidence. The lazy teammate may carry your buried wish for rest. If you have ever noticed this happening, you are not broken. You are meeting what Jung called shadow through projection. Once you understand that mechanism, office drama becomes diagnostic. Every sharp reaction contains information about the self you are becoming. The goal is not to become calm all the time. The goal is to become conscious of what your reactions reveal. So how do you recognize career shadow in yourself? Usually it appears first as intensity far greater than circumstances require. A routine email feels like an insult. Mild feedback feels annihilating. Someone else's success feels strangely personal. Sign 1 is disproportionate emotional charge. The event is small. Your inner reaction feels ancient, immediate, and absolute. Sign 2 is repetitive conflict with different faces. New workplace, new people, same emotional script playing again. Maybe every authority figure feels controlling. Maybe every collaborative partner feels disappointing. The cast changes, but the story survives. Comment below with one word that describes your recurring work pattern. Control, invisibility, exhaustion, envy, resentment, or something else. And if this already feels uncomfortably familiar, that is useful. Recognition is the first moment the shadow loosens its grip. Share which part of your career feels strangely repetitive, not for confession, but to name what wants consciousness. Drop a single word in the comments: integration. That word matters because career growth without integration usually becomes another prison. Now let us go deeper, because the third sign is often the most difficult to admit to yourself. Sign 3 is over-identification with your professional role. You do not only do the job, you become the mask. When praise comes, you feel real. When criticism comes, you feel erased. The persona and the self become confused. Sign 4 is secret contempt. You judge in others what your own psyche has forbidden you to express. You call assertive people selfish because you abandoned your own assertiveness. You call ambitious people shallow because your own desire scares you. Sign 5 is chronic exhaustion without clear cause. Not just workload, but the fatigue of performing one acceptable self. Imagine an outline figure at a desk, smiling outwardly. Behind the chair, a darker silhouette copies every movement. That is how many careers feel. One part performs competence, another part waits, unrecognized, carrying anger, grief, hunger, and brilliance. Sometimes the shadow holds traits you dislike. Sometimes it holds strengths you were never permitted to claim. Your buried competitiveness may contain life force. Your buried sensitivity may contain intuition. Your buried rebellion may contain creative direction. What I am about to share next is simple. It is 3 steps for bringing shadow work into your career without drama. Step 1 is observation without moral judgment. For 1 week, track every moment of unusual emotional charge at work. Do not analyze immediately. Just record the trigger, the feeling, and the story your mind told about it. Right, my manager ignored my idea. I felt humiliated. The story was, I am invisible unless perfect. This sounds basic, but it reveals the structure of projection. Beneath each reaction is a hidden belief about who you must be. The first step matters because awareness creates distance. You cannot work with shadow while fully identified with the reaction. Step 2 is retrieval of the disowned trait. Ask what quality in this situation belongs partly to me. If you resent someone's boldness, find your own forbidden boldness. If you judge someone's passivity, find your own avoided helplessness. This is not self-blame, it is self-return. You are reclaiming energy trapped in judgment and office mythology. Picture an outline figure pointing at another, then the arrow slowly turns back toward the chest. That visual is shadow work in one movement. Attention stops accusing outwardly and begins listening inwardly. Step 3 is deliberate expression in small professional doses. Give the reclaimed trait a conscious, ethical place to live. If you recovered boldness, speak one honest sentence in the next meeting. If you recovered need, ask clearly for support. If you recovered ambition, name your next level without apology. If you recovered anger, convert it into boundary, not explosion. This is how integration works, not grand catharsis. Small embodied acts that teach the psyche it no longer must split. Carl Jung wrote about meeting the unconscious through symbols and dialogue. You can do a modern version tonight in 10 minutes. Sit quietly after work. Imagine your career persona in one chair and your shadow in another. Ask the shadow one question. What quality are you trying to return to my working life through these triggers? Let the answer come uncensored. Maybe it says courage, rest, authority, creativity, need, refusal, honest ambition. Then ask a second question. What is one safe action tomorrow that would honor this quality consciously? Write the answer immediately. Keep it specific and observable. One sentence, one boundary, one request, one honest choice. Picture two outlined figures inside one circle. They are not merging perfectly. They are simply remaining together without exile. That is integration, not becoming fearless, but becoming wide enough to hold contradiction without performing innocence. As this grows, your career becomes less theatrical. Meetings contain less projection. Choices contain more authorship. And here is the deeper insight most people miss. Integrated shadow does not only reduce suffering, it expands vocational power. You negotiate better because you no longer fear your own desire. You lead better because you are less defended. You also recover discernment. Some workplaces are genuinely unhealthy. Shadow work helps you see them clearly instead of reenacting them blindly. When projection softens, decision-making sharpens. You can tell the difference between a real red flag and an old wound. This matters because maturity at work is not endless accommodation. Sometimes wholeness requires leaving, refusing, or renegotiating the role. An outline figure crossing a bridge captures this moment. Behind stand older selves. Ahead stands a more integrated worker. The bridge is built from honest awareness. Each small act of recognition becomes one plank under your feet. You may still feel fear tomorrow. Good. Courage is not the absence of shadow, but relationship with it. The goal is not to destroy your persona. You still need professionalism. You simply stop mistaking the mask for identity. Your career changes when hidden traits become available as conscious tools. Assertiveness becomes leadership. Sensitivity becomes insight. Anger becomes boundary. Before sleep tonight, write 3 word triggers from today. Beside each one, name the quality it may be returning. Then choose one small action for tomorrow that expresses that quality ethically. This is where integration leaves theory and enters life. If this video helped you see your word differently, subscribe to the Archetype Code. We decode the psyche one hidden pattern at a time. And if someone in your life is trapped in the same career loop, send this to them quietly. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is the messenger carrying the professional life your deeper self is asking you to build.